And welcome into the Friday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Hope everybody's off to a great start on this Friday morning. We got the weekend coming up, Super Bowl this weekend, a lot of stuff going on. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
Well, this chair sucks, but the Tigers got Framber Valdez, and they're paying Skubal $32 million, so they're paying two pitchers $70 million this year. So I'm good.
That's a good sign.
Chris Ilitch, get off your ass and pay some money. Finally,
they're going to get him signed to a long-term deal, Skubal?
No. I think no. I mean, Boris is demanding $400 million. This is going to be it. So they're going to go for it this year. And he'll be on the Dodgers or Yankees or Mets next year. And then Valdez will kind of replace him, but which is sad, but I would have been more upset. I don't care what the haul would have been if they would have traded him this offseason. That's how, which is an interesting thing. Some fans would disagree with that. But to me, it's like, at least get another year out of the dude.
He's time to load up and see if you can go win a World Series. What a celebration that would be.
Oh, you just wait.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope it happens. Ian, how are we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Doing just fine, thanks. Happy Friday, everybody. Watched a little bit of Preds last night. I was telling Robbie I was checking scores during intermission. Saw the last 12 seconds of Kentucky Vandy women's.
Yep.
And then, but yeah. Doing great. Happy Friday, everybody. Stay safe and warm out there.
We got Olympics going on. Like Ian's watching some Olympic figure skating in there. There's curling going on. And Joe, this happens every time. So I guess it should stop taking me by surprise. But I don't think I've ever sat down and looked into why this happens. Like, why do we start playing before we do an opening ceremony? Like, what's the point of an opening ceremony if it's already opened at that point? I don't understand.
Yeah, you just got to get a few things knocked out, man. You got to get some stuff knocked out. So I don't know. It's a fair question. And there's probably a logical answer. I've never really looked into it. But, yeah, it is kind of interesting. There's a few days of stuff, and then you have the ceremony.
We have our opening ceremony. The Olympics are half over, and we're going to have the opening ceremony.
Well, it's like a halftime show. It's like the Super Bowl halftime show,
Maybe so.
It's like halfway through the first quarter show.
It's like, wow, how about that? Terron Davenport will be with us later in the program. We'll get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. We do have the season finale of Pigkin Pickham later in the show. A highly anticipated season finale. I've already won, so there is that. But we're going to find out who is in second place this weekend. So looking forward to all that coming up. We'll have the Joe Rexrode later this hour or later in the program as well.
Yeah, which determines who buys you pizza. So it's still a very, there's a lot at stake here.
There is. There's no doubt. There's a lot at stake. We'll get into the Predators and their result in Washington last night, what things mean as the Olympic break is now here a little bit later in the show as well. Joe, we begin with the NFL honors last night. A lot there, including Matthew Stafford narrowly beating out Drake May for the NFL MVP award. We'll get into that here in just a few minutes. The 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame class was named last night as well. But Mike Vrabel winning Coach of the Year, the second time in his career he has won NFL Coach of the Year. We talked about heading into this, Joe. I mean, there's a lot of good candidates, whether it's Ben Johnson in Chicago or the guy that he's playing in the Super Bowl, Mike McDonald in Seattle. I mean, there's, Liam Cohen down there in Jackson. There's a lot of really good candidates that you could have chosen to be NFL Coach of the Year. But Vrabel ends up getting it done. He wins it for the second time. Myles Garrett, to no one's surprise, the Defensive Player of the Year. Jackson Smith-Njigba, the Offensive Player of the Year. Tet McMillan winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. Carson Schwesinger winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. And the all-important Assistant Coach Award that we've now included in all this too, Joe. Josh McDaniels winning Assistant Coach of the Year. So the Patriots are just rolling through the coaching awards at the NFL honors last night.
Well, I really feel bad for the Bears fans. I'm sure you were hoping for a little dose of joy, and it got denied. So I'm really sorry about that. If Josh McDaniels wins the Assistant of the Year, you could make the case that maybe one of the other guys should have won Coach of the Year.
That or they're
Right?
coaching that well. They are coaching that much better than everyone else, the whole staff.
Yeah. Not well enough to win an MVP, though.
No, apparently not. Although somebody
That's,
voted for Justin Herbert as MVP, which is a hot take.
Believe it was
good God.
Sam Monson.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hot take.
What?
Yeah.
Is that a PFF guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin Herbert.
Herbert.
Did your little post game grades give him A pluses? All what?
I think two
man,
people
that's
voted
bad.
for Josh Allen, and it's like, I mean, okay. Like,
Yeah,
I understand
mean,
Josh Allen more than I understand Justin Herbert this year. There's no doubt about that.
Josh Allen still is like, when some people, it's like, if you took this guy off the team. I mean, I think if you took any of these guys off their team, there'd be way
Big
more
problem.
losses than wins. I like Stafford winning, though. I think I think that the Patriots schedule stuff got a little overblown, and especially at this point, what they did in the playoffs. But there is a big difference in what Stafford faced all year and what May faced all year. Now Stafford, great support around him, great skill around him, and all that stuff. But I think that's the right choice. And boy, was that close, the vote, man. I mean, just
one first place vote was the difference. Yeah.
Man, that's got to be one of. It's got to be one of the closest, if not the closest, right?
They said it other than the closest.
Peyton Manning, Steve McNair with co-MVP.
Oh yeah, the co-MVP year,
Yep.
right? Sure, yeah. So Drake May will have more cracks at it, and Stafford probably not too many.
Well, the one-arm push-ups that May is going to be doing over the next couple of days here to get ready for the Super Bowl after he's been robbed of the MVP. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out there. Like Tannehill that 1 week, the Titans are playing against the Dolphins here.
Oh yeah, it just I'm going to throw it so hard. Yeah, Drake May will be doing that, but Mike Vrabel's get all fat and sassy celebrating his Coach of the Year and forget to coach a team until they get to the Super Bowl. So, it's good on one side, but it could be bad on the other.
I didn't see a ton of negative reaction last night from Titans fans. Number one, they're in the Super Bowl this week, so that part of it is what it is. I think most people probably expected Vrabel to win the award. He was the the betting favorite heading into all of it, and it's not a surprise that Vrabel won the Coach of the Year award.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, it is crazy though. Like, if you just go back to, we'll see what happens Sunday, but if you go back to to August and just tell Titans fans, or tell Amy, Vrabel's about to win Coach of the Year, win the Super Bowl. What do you think?
Yeah.
No way. The first one, yeah, I would have believed that because they went like 10-7. It's like, what a great job,
Yeah.
But yeah, they're about to win the Super Bowl. Maybe.
They got a 50-50 shot. That's what the numbers would tell you. 50-50 shot to win the Super Bowl. There's your groundbreaking analysis.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yes. Yeah, I actually, we have to do like staff picks, and I might cover both sides though, man. I don't know. I'm allowed to do that, right?
You can do whatever you want. It's your show.
Because I don't know if it's I don't know if it's like on the internet today yet or not, but I don't know, man. I actually, as I've thought about this game, because I've kind of just been like, yeah, Seahawks are going to beat them by like 10, That's how I've kind of felt. And then I'm like, like if you do dig in on the whole, who has the better coach, who has the better quarterback? Now, some people would argue maybe on the quarterback part, right?
And coach.
Yeah. I don't know about coach. McDonald is good, but Vrabel certainly has more skins on the wall, right? Vrabel has demonstrated operational eliteness with the clock, with using penalty, right? Like I think that one's pretty clear. But quarterback is I think May is more talented. So that's where it gets into. I think it might just come down to that, though. It might be that simple, right? Just like if May avoids the big mistake, or if one of them makes a big mistake, is that the difference?
Could be. We'll get a little bit more of the Super Bowl later this hour. The 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame class named last night, Joe. Drew Brees, Roger Craig, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, and Adam Vinatieri. More love to kickers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What'd you make of the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame class that, as we know, did not include Bill Belichick or Robert Kraft?
Yeah, Roger Craig is just, and again, I guess I'm just a hater of the 80s 49ers. Um, I think he was really good. I mean, like, I think he was a really good player in an amazing offense. Um, I don't know, man. That one to me it's a little it's a little bit of a reach, and this is obviously, this goes directly to Belichick not getting in, because they're now pitting guys like that against the coach slash contributor. But I mean, I'm looking at Roger Craig's career. He had 3 1,000-yard seasons. He had 1,050 yards in 1985. He had 1,500 yards in 1988, and he had 1,054 yards in 1989.
Hall of Fame.
He had, like, he had 8,189 yards rushing in his career. He averaged 4.1 per attempt. I mean, he caught the ball. Like, back then, running backs didn't catch the ball like they do now. So there's a little bit of that for sure. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing where you get into, like, in 85, I mentioned he also had 92 catches for 1,000 yards receiving. Now that's an incredible year, right?
Yeah.
And that team, I'm trying to think, is that the team that beat the Dolphins? I think it was the year before that they beat the Dolphins in the Super Bowl. So, as a pass catching West Coast offense back, I mean, he had 4,900 yards receiving. So, like, that's probably the case for him. If you combine those two, it's a heck of a number. I still, I don't know, man. I just think it's maybe a little bit. That's a little bit of the Hall of Very Good to me when we're talking about the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Maybe my favorite award, Joe, that we've recently added here in the NFL, the Protector of the Year. This is the first one. Joe Thuney winning Protector of the Year on the offensive line. Congratulations to him. I've seen a stat. Apparently, Joe Thuney, they have won every year that he's been in the league. He's won the division, which is crazy. I mean, he's with New England forever, and obviously they just kept rolling division title after division title. Then he ended up in Kansas City for like 5 years, and they just rolled through divisions. And then this year in Chicago, they won the NFC North. So if you want to win your division, go find a way to have Joe Thuney playing for you out there on the offensive line. Apparently, that's the way to go.
That's a hell of a stat. So, Protector of the Year. So, is there an offensive lineman of the year?
No, I think it's just Protector of the Year.
That's it. Yeah,
That's it.
So a road grader, just smash mouth run blocking offensive lineman can't win that award, I guess, or can it? Can he?
I mean, Thuney's a guard, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, he can do a heck of a job protecting the quarterback from the interior. There's no doubt.
Sure. It's just an interesting, why not just call it offensive lineman of the year?
Built to pound.
Protector of the year. Okay, whatever.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We're off and running on Robby and Rexrode. I have a question that I know Rexrode has no way of answering, but I'm interested to get his thoughts on it coming up next. We'll do that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
It's an honor to be recognized amongst the great coaches of our league, especially Kyle and Liam, Ben, and of course, Mike. Ultimately, my name will go on this award, but this award belongs to a building, it belongs to a staff, and ultimately, it belongs to the men in the locker room who believed when they couldn't always see it and also bought in when it wasn't easy. I appreciate that and everything they do. We did this together, and I'll always be thankful and grateful to be your coach.
That was Newt Rockney, a.k.a. Mike Vrabel, last night. The NFL honors, wrapping up his second NFL Coach of the Year award. We'll see if he can cap off the week, Joe, with a Super Bowl championship. We'll get into that matchup here in just a few minutes. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. So Stafford winning the MVP last night. You can add another quarterback to the list, which means not that this is any surprise from last night, but the last time a non-quarterback won the MVP was 2012 when Adrian Peterson won it from Minnesota. And, up until that point, it would happen every now and then, right? Like 2012, he won it. LaDainian Tomlinson won it in 2006. Sean Alexander won it in 2005. So that was interesting. 2 years in a row, you had a running back winning the award. Marshall Faulk won it in 2000. So, up until that point, you still had Barry Sanders winning the award in 1997. I think he tied with Brett Favre. So, there's all this history of running backs kind of creeping up in the conversation every now and then until 2012. And now you wonder if it's ever going to happen again. When is the next time do you think there will be a non-quarterback that wins an NFL MVP award? Will we ever see it again in our life?
Yeah, I think we'll see it again, but it just has to have that right combination of obviously you can't have a, it's not like you have to have all the quarterbacks have down years but you have to have obviously an extraordinary year from the person in question, and then not just an obvious QB. And sometimes with the MVP and QBs, you do get into, I think you get into fatigue with certain people. So if you have the same small group, if you have Patrick Mahomes, I think there was some time with Brady, some time we've already seen with Mahomes. It was a little bit of can anybody else win the award type thing. I mean, Barkley was not, I don't think, far off. I don't have the voting in front of me, but Barkley had a chance at it. I think Derrick Henry had a chance at it. So it's there have been, other players who have been talked about during the year and gotten some votes. But yeah, it's going to take something absurd for sure. I wouldn't, if I had to bet right now, one way or the other. Well, I guess it depends on whose lifetime we're talking about. Maybe not my lifetime, but maybe one of you guys' lifetime. I think it's possible that it'll happen. But yeah, it has essentially because, and that's why they do the Offensive Player of the Year thing, right? Just to sort of, here, give this award to. Actually, does Offensive Player of the Year ever go to quarterback, by the way?
Not really. No. It's
this is just set aside for that.
So, it's interesting that you bring that up because, you mentioned something extraordinary has to happen, which I agree with, but it's Derrick Henry in 2020 ran for 2,000 yards and had 17 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley ran for 2,000 yards last year. And neither one of them came close to the MVP, right? Not close. And now, if you go back and look at it, Aaron Rodgers in 2020, when Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards, Rodgers threw for 48 touchdowns and 5 picks. And when you break down the numbers, had maybe the greatest quarterback season of all time in the regular season. That's what it was. If you go look at it, there's, efficiency numbers and all this other stuff. It's one of maybe the 2 or 3 greatest seasons in the history of the position when you look at it that way. So it's Rodgers was pretty darn good that year. And then last year it was Josh Allen. Yeah. And then last year was Josh Allen, and Josh Allen was great last year. And it's Saquon just ran for 2,005 yards and set out the last game of the year where he could have taken a run at the all-time NFL rushing record. It's if those two guys in those seasons are not even close, how is it? What sort of extraordinary year is it going to take? And you're right. It's going to take a year like that, maybe a little bit more, plus a year where there's not some obvious quarterback just running away with something.
Well, like this year, if Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley had 2,200 yards, okay?
Okay.
Now, you're also talking about those teams had incredible seasons. Like, you have to have the team success too, but break the record, break Eric Dickinson's record, incredible team success. And then a year like this year where, yeah, it was two obvious quarterbacks. They had great years, but they didn't have like, oh my God, years. That's what it takes. Like, would it have happened this year in that case? I don't know. I bet you it would have been a race.
Well, that's the thing
I think some people might have gotten swayed by that.
I think it could have too. But the thing about that is, like, if you look at Stafford's year, and I think The Athletic put something out about this last night. It's Stafford had 46 touchdowns and 8 picks, which is the 4th time in the history of the league that a quarterback has had 45 or more touchdown passes and fewer than 10 interceptions. And I just mentioned one of them, Rodgers in 2020. He did it again in 2011 and Brady in 2007. That's it. That's the only time in the history of the league. Stafford this year, Rodgers twice, and Brady in 2007 when they went undefeated that year.
Yeah, probably underrating Stafford's
year
a little bit.
To your point, he won the MVP award by 1 vote.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing too. It's so why? Well, May was really good, and May had great numbers and all that. But I think some of that is also because May, it was is coach of the year a lot of times. I mean, this happens in college and pro. Goes to the expectations exceeder, right? That's why to me, like Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel. Well, Ben Johnson only got 1 vote. Wow, that's a shame. But point being, the team that comes out of nowhere. Like, I know there's people that are like we had mid-season coaching awards for hoops, and it's like Fred Hoiberg, and then we got like an Arizona fan just angry about it, and it's like, yeah, Arizona's supposed to be awesome this year, and they're undefeated, so we'll see what happens at the end of the year. But like Nebraska, like they came out of nowhere. So I think the Patriots being like not having any expectations was part of that for Drake May. Yeah, again, he had a great year. So to bring that to this, maybe that's another thing that has to happen. Is it like a great player who has an incredible, historic year, a non-quarterback, and also the winning is not expected. Maybe that's the extra element that has to be there. I don't know.
Here's the list, Joe, of positions in the NFL that have won MVP. A lot of quarterbacks in there. We mentioned the running backs that are in there. We got an outside linebacker in Lawrence Taylor, obviously. We got a kicker.
Won more than one.
In Mark Mosley.
1982, baby.
1982. And we have a defensive tackle in 71, Alan Page, winning the award. And then to close it out, listed as fullback for some reason. Jim Brown listed as fullback. We have another, let's see here. Yep, that's it. Fullback, defensive tackle, outside linebacker, running back, and quarterback. Those are your 5 positions in the history of the league that have won the NFL MVP award.
I think that's right with Jim Brown. Like, what I'm trying to think, was Ernie Nevers with him at Syracuse or the Browns? I think he was technically the fullback, but again, back then it's just like you're either going to hand it to the fullback or the halfback. Yeah, fullback or the halfback's going to get the ball. One of the two.
Yep. So wide receivers, screw you guys. You can't win NFL MVP awards.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who is closest. There's been some.
And Calvin Johnson had to be close one year.
Yeah, and I think Jerry Rice.
Sure.
And that's the thing. Back then, it wasn't just like auto, it's going to go to the quarterback. So he should have won one.
615-737-1025, our phone number. What are the most intriguing storylines to you heading into the Super Bowl this weekend? We'll take your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Super Bowl 60 coming up this weekend. The Seahawks and the Patriots. We got Pigkin Pickham later in the show. We got some passing yards props. Got a couple interesting props we're going to get to coming up later in the program for our final edition of Pigkin Pickham. Joe, Seattle, a 4.5-point favorite heading in the matchup. Again, we'll get to the picks later, but as you look at this matchup on paper, we've had a couple of weeks to digest it. We've had a couple of weeks to look at all the one-on-one matchups. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba going to be a problem out there for New England. He just won Offensive Player of the Year last night. What are maybe some of the most intriguing matchups and or storylines to you heading into this one on Super Bowl 60 this weekend?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think Christian Gonzalez, how much man are the Patriots going to play? I mean, to me, that's like he's got to be the guy, right?
You would think so.
If they're going to follow him at all, I have no idea how much that'll happen. That's another thing. Again, like this particular matchup, there's a lot of good players, on both sides. I mean, look, I think that anytime you watch the New England Patriots, if you've watched them this year, I think Coach of the Year is probably well deserved. Like when you think about like the rookie left tackle playing for the Patriots, I think he may turn out to be fine. It's not like it's been all bad, but sometimes it's pretty freaking bad. And some people think Will Campbell is just going to have to end up being a guard. I mean, he's really struggled, and still they're doing this. And again, I guess you could also look at that and kind of translate that to the Drake May MVP campaign, right? Like he's at times had to run for his life a little bit more than you would think for a quarterback who's bringing a team to the Super Bowl. Although when Patrick Mahomes brought that Chiefs team in against the Bucs a few years ago, I don't know that I've seen an offensive line more incapable of blocking an opponent in a Super Bowl. So I mean
Tampa Bay's defense is inspired by Brady. So I mean, what do you expect?
That's true. Come on, guys, let's go. The Let's Go podcast. Yeah. So that's a big, so to me, it's like the pass rush, against the Patriots. If we have Gonzalez, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, and certainly Kenneth Walker has been a huge part of this run for Seattle, and New England's been really stout. And so, can either side have any kind of sustained success running the football? I kind of have my doubts.
I'll tell you what is interesting to me heading into this. Stephon Diggs had a good year for New England. 85 catches, over 1,000 yards, only 4 touchdowns. He's not the same guy that he used to be, clearly, right? I mean, he's 32 years old, and you're talking just a few years ago with Buffalo. I mean, he put up a 1,500-yard season. He had a 1,400-yard season in Buffalo, and he's not that anymore. But in this game, where they're going to, I think, against the defense that's really, really good, they're going to need to make a few plays down the field. Can he come up with a special performance in this game? Because everybody expects that from Jackson Smith and Jigba, and with good reason. I mean, he just won NFL Offensive Player of the Year. Having watched a fair amount of him this year, I don't really know what you do with him. Like, he just is really, really good and finds a way to get open. So at least you think you do, that Seattle is going to be able to generate some explosive plays with him on the other side just because he's done it all year. So New England, can they answer some of that? Like, New England's defense is really good. We've been talking about that for a couple of weeks. So maybe they do a good job of limiting Smith and Jigba out there and what that looks like. But Diggs, can Diggs make a few plays in this game down the field that are difference makers? And I know, they've made some different plays some different guys have made some big plays down the field. I mean, Booty's made some plays down the field.
Yeah.
And they've got a way that they've operated there. May's been really good throwing the deep ball. So all those things are good. But I just feel like if New England's going to win this game, Diggs is probably going to have to play a pretty big role in it.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Matt Collins is another guy who just comes up with the occasional big play, but I mean, Matt Collins and Butte are both 550-yard guys this year. So I think Hunter Henry too, is a guy who he had a really good year, who has to be a big factor. But yeah, that's true. I mean, Seattle has a guy who I'm certain, if not, they're not going to win. But I'm pretty certain is going to make some explosive plays, and New England's going to need some of those too, without question.
Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Jared in Spring Hill to the program. Jared, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, gentlemen. Like I said, I hope y'all had a great week. Been loving the show. So, a couple things on this. Just talking about the awards from last night. I do kind of agree that the MVP is more of a quarterback-driven thing, and then Offensive Player of the Year seems like it's reserved for anyone else. And then I can't really say I'm happy for Vrabel because, like, as an adult, you're like, yeah, and Vrabel doesn't really need you to be happy for him. But I can't say I'm, like, surprised because we saw what he did, and just kind of, like, spitefully makes me giggle and chuckle, knowing that Amy's watching all of this happening, and she's probably one of the sole causes of the state of the Titans that we are right now, and the failure to acknowledge or recognize or want to build around the talent that you had in the building. And anyways, also too, talking about this Super Bowl, I've been talking to a bunch of buddies, and they're kind of feeling it's going to be more of like a runaway. But man, the way this is going through it, and just the matchups that y'all have been talking about on both sides, offensive line, defensive line, and everything else. To me, this game just screams like it's going to be a Vrabel slop game. I mean, I'm probably going to pick I'm not a betting man by no means, but I'm probably going to put my interest where the Patriots are going to win like 22-19 type of slop game. And also, too, last thing, how's the new are they using the new anthem that y'all been workshopping for the Super Bowl? Y'all going to bust out the Super Bowl, or how's that? What's the status of the new anthem to be played? So anyways, guys, man, y'all are great, man. And happy Friday. Tighten up.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate it. Or have we been working on the national anthem, Joe?
Like, we're going to sing one?
Well,
we had
we did have somebody call in last week.
I think that's what he was referring to.
Besmirching the flag. So we'll see if the national anthem ever gets changed, or if they just stop singing it before sporting events.
Oh, right. Oh, man. Yeah, well, I'm just wondering why Luke Bryan isn't singing the national. Has he sung the national anthem at a Super Bowl yet?
I don't think so. So. Nice one at the Predators game the other night, though.
Did he?
Yeah, he did it literally Wednesday.
There we go. See?
Literally 2 nights ago, he did it. I mean, he's sang like 4 or 5 anthems at the Predators games at this point. A lot of response when he sings the anthem before our show, too.
Yeah, absolutely. It always people notice. People notice.
They do.
They sure do.
They sure do. CD on the text line says, I hope the Patriots win by a blowout, and it makes Amy feel terrible. She deserves it. This from CD on the text line. I will say this. There will be several potential results in this game, Joe, that would not surprise me. Like if Seattle ended up winning by a couple touchdowns, I'd be like, yeah, and maybe a late touchdown at the end to go away with it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. If Vrabel gets the Patriots to hang in there and they go down and they win it at the end, and the New England Patriots are Super Bowl champions on Sunday night, I'm like, yeah, okay, I could see that. I think the one result that would really shock me in this game is if New England goes in there and wins by like 21 points or something like that. Like if New England just totally destroys Seattle, that would be the one that really surprises me.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm not even really. I don't even really have that one on the table, as something I consider to be possible. But it is, Super Bowls. I'm trying to think of like what's the biggest upset blowout in Super Bowl history.
Well,
like were the Seahawks were they favored against Denver?
I was going to bring that up. Like I don't know what the line was in that game. I'll have to go find it. But I can guarantee you that whether they were favored or not, it was close. Like it was close with that Denver team. So, yeah, I mean that one was the one that immediately came to mind where the game was over like 6 minutes into the game.
Yeah. Like I was certain that was going to be a really good game. And man, actually, I don't know. I have no idea why. I mean, I guess he was just for whatever reason, really liked the Broncos. But I just remember that Brennan was a really little kid and he cried as that game started to get away.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. From the Broncos, I was like, man, it'll be okay, dude. He was like 5.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Give him a break.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just and then he got right back into the Lions fandom at some point, and now he's not worried about
and
the
I
Broncos.
just said,
or the
that's fine.
Seahawks.
I said, love the Broncos, love any team, don't love the Lions. And then family members kept giving him Calvin Johnson jerseys. I'm like, okay, well, you guys, whatever, man. You want to try, I'm trying to help a kid navigate this tough world, and you're trying to do the opposite.
None of you are helping. 615-737-1025, our phone number. A couple more of your thoughts to get to on the Super Bowl matchup. We'll get into the Predators and their loss in Washington last night, as the Olympic break is now here for the Predators. Where do they go from here? All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Super Bowl 60 coming up this weekend. The Patriots and the Seahawks. Taking your thoughts on that. By the way, Joe, according to AI, which is a dangerous game to play, but according to AI, the Denver Broncos were slight favorites, generally by 1 to 2.5 points over Seattle leading up to the Super Bowl in February of 2014. Line moved before the game, and I think Seattle at one point was a 1.5 point favorite, but the final score is 43-8, Joe. So that one got out of hand fast.
Yeah. Okay. So wait. So where did it end?
I think it ended, according to AI, it ended with Denver favored by 2, I believe.
Okay. So that has to be it then.
Yeah.
That's got to be, because there's been tons of blowouts, but every other blowout I can think of, it was the favorite. I'm sure I'm missing something, but although in the 80s, I mean, it was always, the Niners against some, or even, Denver would just go to the Super Bowl and just get destroyed by whoever from the NFC East would just destroy Denver.
Last year's wasn't great either.
Or the Niners.
Do have some numbers here for the NFL MVP wide receiver. It says here Jerry Rice holds the record for the highest voted wide receiver for NFL MVP, like we had kind of thought. 30 votes, 35% in the strike shortened 87 season.
Okay.
And then Randy Moss in 98 got 4 votes.
Okay.
Cooper Kupp apparently got 1 also.
He had a great year a couple years ago.
In that 1 year in 2021.
So there's no that's the thing with Calvin Johnson.
Their teams were never good enough,
yeah, their teams weren't good enough, yeah.
He did not pop up on the search here.
Yeah, Jerry Rice again. Like Roger Craig, all of them, and a great offense, great team. But the talent that stands out among all of them is Jerry Rice. Then they had a good quarterback too.
Such a hater. Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Blaine to the program. Blaine, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
So I got some Super Bowl plays I want to share with the audience, if you guys are interested.
Okay, make it quick.
Okay, 24-21 Seattle, exact score. Also bet 23-20 Patriots.
You're going 2 scores?
Yeah, trust me, to hedge it. Under 37.5, Drake May, and parlay the first 2 drives.
Okay, we're going to have to cut you out there. We're not coming on here just doing betting segments.
we got an impromptu betting segment coming up on here. He's coming right out with the hedge, and okay.
I thought he was going to give his picks, but then he's like, actually, here's how you hedge. Here's what you do this. Okay, let's cut that out. We appreciate the call.
Yeah, you didn't even give him. You could have given him the Rexrode rap.
No, it's okay.
There you go. That'll get people right there. Oh my God! Hang up the phone and what the hell is that?
I got one texter asking if the Bills were ever favored during their 4 straight Super Bowl appearances. That's a good question.
I would be willing to bet right now without looking. I would bet. Here's a bet I would do.
Okay.
That they were absolutely favored against the Giants the first time.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm certain of it. That they were the favorite against the Giants. They were the best team in football, and they should have won that game. And obviously, Scott Norwood wide right, but that one for sure. I would bet they probably were not favored in any of the other ones. It's Washington and then Dallas twice. Probably not, but that first one for sure. Yeah, that should have been the one.
Boy, that fan base had a run of misery, right? In the postseason, when you get to 4 straight Super Bowls, all the stuff that's going on with Allen, and they haven't been able to break down the door to even get there yet. And then, to see Drake May, after you went through Brady for as long as you did, to see Drake May in his second year end up in the Super Bowl. Bills fans just got to be feeling rough right now, man.
Yeah. There's still other fan bases that would say, okay, we'll take 4 straight Super Bowl losses.
Sure.
Or even we'll take Josh Allen, and I'll take him right now. let me roll the dice and see what happens the rest of the way. But yeah, especially with the Patriots thing this year, that's the thing that's like, oh God, after all this, and now they just go right back to the freaking Super Bowl. Oh,
Not
yeah,
good.
no. But if you're a Bills fan right now, and I have no idea like how it would break down percentage wise in your support or excitement about Joe Brady, but if you're a Bills fan right now, would you rather have Josh Allen for the next 5 years or Drake May for the next 5 years?
I mean, that's.
If you're a Bills fan, you're going to say
You're
Josh
going to
Allen.
say Josh Allen.
If you're an unaffiliated fan,
that's a good question.
That's your choice of Super Bowl. I think I'd still go Josh Allen.
I think I would too, but it's a good question. Drake May's, I think, going to end up being pretty good. How about this one? So, Mike Macdonald. We've talked a lot about Vrabel. Mike Macdonald, the Seattle Seahawks head coach, calling plays for the Seahawks defense, right? And this has been out there the last couple of days, and I guess I never realized this, Joe. Apparently, Mike Macdonald can become the first head coach as the primary defensive play caller to ever win a Super Bowl on Sunday. The first one. This is, people have dug into this, and apparently, if they win the Super Bowl on Sunday, he will become the first head coach who is actively, primarily calling defensive plays to win a Super Bowl. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't think that it used to be all that common, right? I think it's more common now than it's ever been that we have these defensive coaches who call defensive plays. And it's just sort of that mindset or philosophy of, what your coach is one or the other, and then that's his baby. And then there's sort of like almost like, assistant head coach of the other side of the ball. So I don't think there's been that many people who did it in the past. It never, it just never was a thing.
Yeah.
Now, I am a little surprised just because I would have assumed somewhere in there Belichick was calling defensive plays.
Apparently not. When when they won, he was not the primary play call defensive.
Yeah.
By the research these people have done.
That's very interesting.
So Robert Saleh getting in on the cutting edge of this too. Like McDonald may go win it this year, and then Saleh follows it up as the primary defensive play caller.
Yeah, when he wins a few, it won't be so abnormal after his several of them. So, by the way, thanks to Trevor, the Bills were 6.5 point favorites. In fact, in '91, so they were definitely the better team, the best team. Should have won it. And then they were pretty big favorite or underdogs the next year. And so William from Madison says, "No, this is Grok." You just asked Grok something. Okay, well, I don't know if it's trustworthy or not, but I can see this Denver being a 3-point favorite in that against Washington in that 87-88, the strike year Super Bowl, lost 42-10. That was I believe that was Doug Williams just absolutely just going nuts on them. So William from Madison, I guess we can believe Grok. That adds up.
Yeah, I mean, and that it plays into your Joe Gibbs, the greatest coach of all time narrative that you've thrown out there.
I mean, again, if we're someone early in the text line was like, we always talk about Vrabel, but it seems like we never mentioned he has this quarterback finished second for MVP. I would argue we've been talking about both of them this year, but to that point. If we're gonna put an asterisk, but if we're gonna consider how many great coaches have also had great quarterbacks, it is a very high percentage. It's a very high hit rate that those two things seem to go hand in hand. That was not the case with Joe Gibbs. I mean, Joe Theismann was a very good player, but he was not one of those guys. And then you go Doug Williams, Jay Schrader, you go Mark Rippon. I mean, I think he has a very strong case as the greatest coach of all time.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. The Predators falling last night to the Washington Capitals. We'll give you an update on where things stand now that the Olympic break has arrived in the NHL, and what should the Predators do on the other side of it as the trade deadline is right around the corner. We'll take your thoughts on all that. Terron Davenport will be with us at 8 o'clock. All that ahead, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Terron Davenport will be with us at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit. We have the season finale of Pigkin Pickham coming up later in the show at 8:30. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode later this hour at 7:45. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025 on the Predators front. First off, here in just a few minutes, Joe, we will get to a trade candidate for the Nashville Predators, where there has been kind of an interesting update on that front that we will get to here in just a few minutes. The Predators lose last night in Washington to close things out before the Olympic break. So you get the overtime loss on Wednesday against Minnesota, and then last night a 4-2 loss to the Washington Capitals. And Joe, it's basically the same story. And the Predators fell behind 2-0 pretty quickly into the game. It ended up being 3-0 eventually before they finally got their first goal. And, you know, when you do that, you're just not going to come back every night. That's what it is. And they didn't play all that great last night. They didn't look all that great last night. They lose 4-2, which means right now you're at 57 games played with the Olympic break. Now here you are 4 points back. So 4 points back of Anaheim at 63 points. You have 59. LA sandwiched in between with 60, and Utah has the first wild card spot at 64. So, Joe, you know, I said 3 out of 4 against Minnesota and Washington you'd be thrilled with if you're the Predators. You didn't get it. You ended up getting 1 out of 4. So not ideal to close out the week there for the Preds. What do you make of where they sit here with the Olympic break now here and them 4 points back of a playoff spot?
Yeah, not great. And it's just it's a dead horse. But man, the inability to show up at the beginning of games. Again, you can be a slow starter, you can sleepwalk a little bit, you can be sluggish, you can lose the territorial battle, right? But they here, score score again. You know, I mean, it's just not, again, as you talked about, as we've talked about, tremendous ability consistently to fight back and go on runs, and that's all exciting and everything, but it's not sustainable. And I have no idea what you do about that. You know, you're just trying to put together a good performance in a particular night. I don't know what, smelling salts or something. I don't
drop
know.
the puck, have everybody skate to the crease and stand with your goalie. No one's ever going to score. They can crank shots at you all day. You're not going to score.
That's true. You're not going to lose.
Make it everyone hurt.
Yeah, and then they I guess they make everyone go away for the shootout in the 0-0 game.
True.
So then you're up for, but you get the point. I mean, you get the point. So I mean, you're guaranteed, you know, what, 41 points.
Well, I'm just saying, you don't even have to do it the whole game. Just the first 6 or 7 minutes, make sure you don't get scored on, and then go from there.
Or you're guaranteed 82 points in a season if you do that.
It's true.
And then all you have to do is pick up another 13, 14 points in the shootouts.
May have stumbled onto something here.
I mean, I'm just saying, you're probably going to the playoffs. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely one of those, whatever happened here, whether they got the 3 of the 4 points, they got 4 points, they did nothing. They're still in there, hanging around there. But for anybody who was starting to really have thoughts of, wow, watch out, you know, there's a little bit of a splash of cold water here, I'd say, before the Olympic break.
There's 5 games left between now and the NHL trading deadline. That's I've been saying it for a while that, I mean, the trading deadline in the NHL is a month from today. So you hear that and you're like, well, a month, that's a long time. I mean, they're not playing for 3 weeks. So there are 5 games between now and the NHL trading deadline where you gotta figure this out if you're Barry Trotz. Now, look, Barry Trotz may already know what he's doing at the trade deadline. And by the way, there's an Olympic roster freeze right now, so they're not going to be making any official trades over the next couple of weeks here. I am interested to see, if they use this time to get the ball rolling on the general manager search or the hockey operations, whatever you want to call it. So that part's going to be interesting, but we'll see what happens on that front. But they're not going to be you're not going to be watching, USA and Canada play in the gold medal game. It's like, wow, they just made a trade. That's not going to happen coming up here. So it's going to be some time here over the next few weeks where not much is going on in the NHL from a roster standpoint. And then when you get back, it's all going to be happening at once. So how do the Predators fit into that? Are they listening already to some trade offers, prior to this roster freeze that just took place? And here's something that just came out, Joe, earlier this morning, or I guess late last night, from Elliot Friedman that I think is pretty interesting. And it's regarding Jonathan Marchessault. Elliot Friedman did his written 32 thoughts that he comes out with. And this is what he says. Quote, another player to add to your trade boards, Jonathan Marchessault. Nashville has the big names and strong complementary players like Michael McCarron and Nick Perbix. But I sometimes forget Marchessault, and now I've been reminded a couple of times. He has control, but there's a willingness between team and player for something to happen. Unique in his case, his preference is somewhere with good minor hockey infrastructure for his children. So that is what Elliot Friedman had to say on the Jonathan Marchessault front. Says there is a willingness between team and player for something to happen. And unique in his case, he wants to go somewhere with good minor hockey infrastructure for his children. So, Joe, I said this earlier this week. Marchessault, to me, in the overall picture here, I don't think the standings of where they are as a team are necessarily unimportant. Like if the Predators roll off 5 wins in a row coming out of the break here and they find themselves back in a playoff spot, I would legitimately be genuinely interested to see how Barry Trotz reacted to that information. I think, that could affect whether or not he trades some of the guys that are on the roster. I said earlier this week, I don't think Jonathan Marchessault qualifies there. To me, I don't know that it matters where they are in the standings or what their preference is in terms of keeping the group together overall. I think if they got an offer from Marchessault that they could live with, they'd move on at this point. And this one, that report from Friedman kind of goes hand in hand with that.
Yeah. Question is, what can they live with? Because obviously the term on that is a problem, right? I mean, that's just it's limiting.
Yeah.
But by the way, is this whole thing is this Marchessault sort of taking a shot at our youth hockey situation?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's pretty. I mean,
I
we've
think
come
he
a
kind
long
of
way.
liked it here. I think based on some very informal conversations I've had with him. I mean, he's played. I think a couple of his kids have played with Stamkos' kid. I know last year at one point it was his kid, Stamkos' kid, O'Reilly and Shins all together, on the same team. So
okay,
there you go.
So that should be good.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think he just wants to have something similar.
I mean,
that's my
I'm trying to think of. So if you go around the league, I don't know. I'm just gonna guess that if you go around the league, there's very few places that wouldn't have that.
You would think,
right?
Yeah.
So why I okay, because that's how it's hard for me to hear that and not think he's saying it's just not quite what I'm looking for here. But
I don't know.
Who knows? I don't know. Again, we've come a long way. Keep adding those sheets of ice. Preds have done serious work in that regard.
Yes.
Yeah. But what is it? What is the return? What's the interest level? Who's willing to take on that? Did the Preds have to keep some of that money?
Right. It's an interesting question. I believe this. It's been a tough year for Jonathan Marchessault. It's been a tough Predators tenure for Jonathan Marchessault. And, we were having that conversation about all of them. And obviously Stamkos has completely turned it around, right? He is probably going to be knocking on the doorstep of 40 goals by the time this year is over with, which is, if you'd have said that 3 weeks into the season, I think most people would have thought you were nuts. So he's turned it around. I mean, quietly, it hasn't been perfect, But by the way, Brady Shea and Roman Yossi are playing together right now, which they tried immediately when he got here. And it was such a disaster for like the first 2 weeks last year that they never went back to it. Well, they've been pretty good. Like they've, and I know Yossi in particular is playing at
Has
a
been
pretty
great.
high level right now. So I understand that. But I think Brady Shea, for the most part lately, has been pretty good. So to differing degrees, you've seen Stamkos completely turn this around. You've seen Brady Shea, I think, start to settle in a little bit more this year, which is good to see. And Marchessault just hadn't found it. And a lot of that this year specifically, I think, is injury related. I mean, he's been hurt off and on basically the whole year to this point. But it's also clear that, it just doesn't feel like it's a great fit. And I think Marchessault, in order to be productive, needs a specific type of centerman to play with him. And the Predators, beyond O'Reilly, just don't really have that guy. And right now, O'Reilly is playing with, Stamkos and Evangelista and Forsberg and those guys and kind of rotating. And Marchessault ain't in that rotation. So if he's not playing with O'Reilly, Marchessault was really productive at last year in Vegas. Who did he play with? Well, he played with Jack Eichel, right? Well, they ain't got Jack Eichel walking around here. So it just doesn't feel like a great fit.
Is Nick Saban friends with Tom Brady?
I'm sure they've run across.
Not really. I mean, he
paths.
coached against him in college. As if somehow he could arrange, like if there was a cloning, if the Preds could just clone O'Reilly, like everybody can't play with O'Reilly.
Exactly. If you're going to start cloning,
that's
people,
that's my answer.
Yeah.
Well, that's yeah. Well, you don't want to clone McDavid because wouldn't the team that has McDavid just have the rights to his clone too?
I guess. I don't know. But this is the Tom Brady questions you got to ask, though. Instead of cloning your dogs, can you clone us a hockey player too?
We're getting there.
615-737.
The AI robots start to take over the world and form their own society.
A lot of your thoughts to get to on a potential Jonathan Marchessault trade. We'll get in some other trade thoughts on the Predators coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Register today for Stars Trivia Night at Boomba's in East Nashville on Thursday, February 19th. It'll be a night full of fun, food, and prizes, all while supporting Stars Nashville, a nonprofit providing free mental health support for students in over 200 schools across Middle Tennessee. More details and to find out how to register, visit thegamenashville.com/events. Terron Davenport will be with us at 8 o'clock. We've got TD coming up at, the Rexrode coming up at 7:45 on the program as well. Taking your thoughts on the Predators at 615-737-1025. People are all over Brady Shea on the text line. I'm just telling you, he's been better lately. Like, the numbers are what they are. Him and Yossi together have been pretty good. Like, possession, they've been good. I think defensively they've been okay. Now, it's been a weird week because it's basically been two different games that the Predators have played in their home games this week. The first part of the St. Louis game, they collectively looked like maybe the worst team in the history of hockey. And then they turned it on and looked like one of the best teams in the league in the second half of that game. They had some weird stuff happen in the Minnesota game, like 2 goals basically went off of Blankenberg. Yossi fumbled the puck, kind of backpedaling, and Trennan chipped it over the top of Saros. So they had some weird stuff going on this week. But I'm just saying, overall, like, Brady Shea has looked better with Roman Yossi. It's amazing, Joe, that somebody could play with Roman Yossi and look a little better.
It is wild when you think about how that was abandoned, and then it was like never. Because I remember
it
on
was
our
pretty
show,
bad to begin.
I don't remember exactly what was said, but it was like, yeah, that was just that's just absolutely something you would never think about again. And it is interesting how it comes back around. It's like, oh yeah, actually not bad, huh? Pretty good. But like you said, if Yossi is going to be looking like vintage Yossi out there, I'll raise my hand, put me on skates.
Yeah, exactly.
Good D partner.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't mind playing with him. So we'll see if that continues. And, it would be a very good thing if Brady Shea, with that contract, with that amount of term left, could be a good player for you for a few years. Now, is he ever going to be worth the contract? Probably not. And I understand that the cap's going up and all that stuff. But, if you start talking about contracts that are going to be difficult to get out of, that one's near the top of the list when it comes to, just because of the term and the amount of money that's thrown onto it. But It would be a good thing to see him to start to continue to play a little bit better here. And again, like, he's going to be here. Stamkos is completely turned around, and Marchessault is the one guy that it hasn't really clicked for him yet. Now, he's also, I've said this, Joe, I don't think that Jonathan Marchessault has just totally lost it as a player. And I remember saying that about Stamkos, and people thought I was nuts. And then all of a sudden you look around, it's like, wow, Steven Stamkos is still pretty good. You just got to find a way to get him the puck. So
how about that?
There is that. Now, Marchessault and Stamkos are not the same player. Stamkos is a future first ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to end up being like a top 15 goal scorer in the history of the game by the time it's all done. So it's a different type of thing. But Marchessault, I think, could still be effective. I just, with where their roster is right now, I don't know how effective he's going to be on this team. So I could see, I guess this is a long way, Joe, me saying, I could see a team or two out there looking at him and saying, you know what? I understand he's got a $5.5 million cap hit for the next 3 years after this one. The cap's going up. We can make it work. And we feel like with our team, whoever it is, whether it's, Montreal, whoever, with our team, we've got better personnel fits to go along with him. And we think he can still be a, 30-ish goal type of guy.
Yeah, no, certainly. I think teams can look at him, look at everything, look at what's happened in Nashville, the difficulties, and absolutely talk themselves into it. But yeah, it's that contract is going to be obviously limiting, but this text, about comparing him to Duchesne, the new Duchesne, says he's lazy and a cancer in the locker room. Good riddance. I think we talked about this ad nauseum back then. Matt Duchesne wasn't a cancer in the locker room. I think Matt Duchesne frustrated people, right?
Yes.
And by the way, when Matt Duchene was moved out of here, we heard don't come to Nashville to retire. So, I mean, he's done okay, right? Since he left. He wasn't a can. And you've made the point. I think Marchessault has been outspoken, which I find refreshing. But he's obviously expressed frustration. But I don't think that's a fair. You tell me. I don't. The things that you've said, that's an unfair assessment of it.
Look, all I can tell you is, being around him in the locker room, he's always talking in there. Always. I mean, you can't go in there without hearing Marchessault talking to somebody. Like he and Forsberg were sitting there yucking it up the other day. Like, I don't get the sense that people don't like Jonathan Marchessault in there. Now, I am, as things devolved last year, and we talked about this at the time, Joe. It got really bad last year. We all understand that. And I did find some comments from Stamkos at the end of the year pretty interesting in terms of you can sit there and you can complain about it, or you can find a way to, dig yourself out of there. So how much, whining, or for lack of a better term, complaining was Marchessault doing at the end of last year when things weren't going well? I have no idea. But I did find
But there was some public complaining. There was some public complaining.
Yeah. So I think he's outspoken. I think he doesn't really beat around the bush. He just says what he feels. And I personally like that. I'm sure it's at times in different situations, Joe, that could probably rub some people the wrong way. And there is, whether this is fair or not, the winning percentage that they've got this year with him in the lineup versus him out of the lineup, they have done much better with him out of the lineup. Now, that could be purely coincidental. I have no idea. But I think all that plays into the perception around him.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, you can pop off a little bit. You can be maybe a little bit of a malcontent. You can annoy people sometimes with that a little bit. That is still a pretty big jump from there to cancer in the locker room. Like cancer in the locker room is like people, like not only do people not like you, but you make it harder for for the whole thing to function. I mean, that's reserved for, I think, special cases, and I don't think this is that whatsoever.
No, again, I think the players like him. I also think, and this is,
and they like Duchene, by the way.
Well,
people like Duchene.
Yeah, and this is also
it was just like, dude, come on.
Right.
Sometimes.
Exactly.
Right.
And this is, this kind of plays into Friedman's report. Sometimes it just becomes clear that it's not a fit, right? And I think we've gotten there with Marchessault. Like, it's not a fit. And look, I know he scored a goal last night, so that's good to see. But, the quote that Friedman had of there's a willingness between team and player for something to happen right now. I think when you get to that point in year 2 of a 5-year contract after the big hoopla that went into signing him, I think that kind of shows you that both the team and the player at this point recognize that the fit has just not worked out. So I'm very interested to see if he gets moved by deadline time here, and if a team takes a shot on that contract, which again, the cost of it is really not that much. With the cap going up the way it is at $5.5 million, I don't think it's like some immovable contract. I think it just depends on it to me, it really depends on which teams are we talking about that's interested, because I think you have to play, like, if you're wanting to take on that contract for the next 3 years, it's not prohibitive, but I feel like you got to have a pretty good idea that you've got a centerman that you feel like pairs up pretty well with Marchessault.
Yeah, you got to project ahead a little bit beyond just you're grabbing a rental.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens on that front. So everybody's going to focus in on, O'Reilly and Halla and the centers, and I understand that. But Marchessault going to be pretty interesting to see what happens on that front. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Some treachery going on in the world of college athletics. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. I got a 4-pack of wristbands to give away to the National Wild Turkey Federation Sports Show at the Opryland Convention Center, coming up Thursday, February 12th through Saturday, February the 14th, to caller number 4. Caller 4, 615-737-1025. Caller 4 will win a 4-pack of wristbands to the National Wild Turkey Federation Sports Show coming up next week. Joe, we got some treachery going on in the world of college sports, and it's led by your boy, Greg Sankey. Tell us what's happening between Greg Sankey, the NCAA case against Charles Bediako, and the University of Alabama.
Yeah, well, there's supposed to be I don't know if the ruling's at 9:30, but that's supposed to be the hearing today in Tuscaloosa on Bediako, essentially to, he has the TRO, the temporary restraining order, but this is for a preliminary injunction. These legal terms are becoming as much, about college sports terms as, NIL and the transfer portal, which are also just new in the last 5 years. But Greg Sankey has actually filed, he has filed a statement arguing in favor of the NCAA and against one of his member institutions, which is interesting. The quote that he said here in what he wrote, he said, quote, "I respectfully ask the court to uphold the NCAA eligibility rules challenged in this case, which are essential to the integrity of college sports, to the educational mission they serve, and to the opportunities they provide for current and future student athletes," end quote. You absolute traitor, Greg Sankey. You better never step foot in Tuscaloosa again. I do wonder.
He's going to get booed.
Yeah. How many times does anybody ever announce the commissioner of year?
I don't know. He's just walking around the stands. People are just going to boo him.
Yeah.
SEC tournament.
That's true. SEC tournament. The Alabama fans can boo. Everybody else might cheer him. But it's the interesting thing about this is, first of all, good for him. In all seriousness, I applaud him because I think he's right. But the lawyer for Bediako, Darren Heitner, I mean, he does have a point, right? He immediately tweeted back at him, right? He's he's saying he's talking about consistent application of NCAA rules, but you have James Nagy of Baylor, you have those other examples where we've already sort of opened Pandora's box. Now, the difference, of course, as we've talked about with Bediako, is this is the first case of has played in college, left for the NBA, and has signed an NBA contract. That's never happened before. Now we got Amari Bailey sitting here trying to come back after playing in the NBA. So, I mean, you can see where this can go. I mean, seriously, we joke about LeBron, go play for Ohio State. Actually, LeBron said he was going to go play at Michigan State, play because Shannon Brown was his good buddy. So
I think LeBron over the course of time has said he's going to play for Michigan State, Ohio State, Duke.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a college out there LeBron said he wasn't going to play for.
That's true. Yeah. But I mean, seriously, anybody who has not expired their eligibility.
I was going to Vol State in Gallatin. I was looking forward to playing a little junior college basketball.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty wild to think of where this could go. So, I mean, I'm fascinated today in what happens. I still to me, it's just the only two answers. I mean, maybe it does go against Bediako and Alabama today. To me, that doesn't. I mean, I guess that probably kills the Bailey thing, right? Or it makes it way less likely. And so I guess that part of it. But you still have all the questions, and I think Nate Oates is I know Alabama fans are they've heard all the spin from Nate Oates,
yep.
and I'm sure they're buying into it. And look, I'm not saying he's necessarily totally wrong. I mean, he is okay, so how now? Nate Oates, I agree. The problem is Greg Byrne, the AD, sits here and says, well, these guys are making millions in Europe and they come over. Well, they're not making millions. That's why they're coming to college basketball. But it is true that you have 22-year-old freshmen who played professionally for several years in Europe who are now playing college basketball.
Yeah.
And I understand it's not the NBA, but I mean, why is the line here and not there, right?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'll say this, look, we've been all over Greg Sankey the last couple of years about all the stuff that's gone down in college sports and specifically college football that, he has played a large hand in getting to, right? Whether that's the expansion of the college football playoff, the transfer portal, like all these different things, and the allocations and all this other stuff that we've talked about with Greg Sankey. I will say kudos to Greg Sankey on this. Like sometimes it's okay to look at the way that things are heading in a sport and say, you know what? I don't know that this is great. Like, I don't know that this is what we need to be doing in college basketball, is having guys go off to the NBA or the NBA G League and signing professional contracts, and then all of a sudden deciding they want to come back and play some college basketball because it's not going the way they hoped it was going in the NBA. Sorry. Like sometimes you need to do what's best for your sport. I think everybody associated with this that's not associated directly with the University of Alabama understands why this is a problem. So kudos to Greg Sankey for not just either saying nothing or hiding behind one of your institutions there and being like, well, I can't go against Alabama because they're in the SEC. No, sometimes it's okay to just say, yeah, this probably doesn't need to be the way we need to be doing things in the world of college athletics.
Agree. I mean, you don't see it a ton. I mean, now, of course, if you're Greg Sankey, you know all the other institutions in your league also applaud you, right? So sometimes, but you still don't see it often that there's any sort of commissioner stepping in and essentially defying what one of your schools wants. I mean, Tony Petitti, who's been basically a disaster as Big Ten commissioner, that's the one thing I give him credit on is when all the Harbaugh stuff went down, like he jumped in there and they suspended him and stuff. Like it was just like, you can't just ignore this, but it takes something pretty extreme. But I agree. Sankey deserves credit for this. And it's just like, the one thing that Oates says about this, and he's not wrong. He's like, we have all these people who are gone for a long time, come back, or again, guys who start college when they're 22, 23, they start their eligibility clocks. Like, I mean, Bediako is technically in his eligibility window, right? And it's like, yeah, and that's all fair. But again, I mean, the NCAA came out and said, like, if you sign a contract, you will not be eligible. So they still apply. The NCAA denied them. And it's never, I don't believe this will happen. I'm 100% positive it won't. But I do get the argument of like, hey, by the way, all you schools who wanted rules, who want guardrails, who want things to be orderly, well, if all of you just agree to, follow those rules, then we won't have these issues.
Yeah.
Right. But of course, it's not going to happen because some coach will be like, this guy makes a total difference for us. And he does.
Well,
Alabama with him is a team that could make a run in March. Before that, I don't think so.
Well, this is,
and then the AD will get on board, and it's just what it's going to be. You're never going to get that kind of, even as hypocritical and ridiculous as it is. You're just not going to get there.
Well, this is the same exact thing that's going on with all like the Dabo and the tampering stuff. It's like, well, yeah, technically, like Dabo's exactly right. Like all the tampering stuff that he talked about, and he went out and he called out Ole Miss by name. Like all that stuff is right. But it's not going to change because all the teams do it, right? Like, so like the rules are in place, but the rules aren't going to be upheld because everybody knows what goes on behind the scenes here in college football here. So, I mean, it's a different situation in terms of we're not talking about tampering with Charles Bediako in that situation, but that's the point of there are some guidelines and rules in place of how things are supposed to operate here, but nobody's going to enforce them because there's always going to be somebody that's looking for that edge. That's where we are. I mean, it's where we've always been in college sports, but that's where we definitely are right now.
So again, to me, if people aren't going to be like, okay, we all agreed on these rules, let's follow them. Well, then again, I've completely rejected well, there's two things, but one of them is and that's collective bargaining. Because when you get to that point, then again, then the players will have to agree to things like this too, right? They'll have to agree. Yeah, okay, 5-year clock. If you sign pro, you can't give all that stuff. Yeah, all that stuff can be put in, and then it ends. But who knows how far we are from that? It's inevitable, but it's not. Doesn't mean it's close. So then, will Congress help with some skinny bill? I mean, I have rejected. They can't do anything. They can't do anything apart from sports. So I've rejected that idea altogether. But I think that's the only short-term fix. And if not, we're just going to see more and more. But today's really important. And I will tell you, Robby, that selfishly, I'm covering Alabama-Auburn Saturday, so I kind of want to see like the trolling that Auburn has for Bediako. But I mean, we'll just leave it in the judges' hands.
We'll see what happens. 615-737-1025, our phone number. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Dude, you all right? Why are you yelling at that guy?
All right, my wife connected. And all right, my wife. And all right, uppercut my wall. All right, my wall. All right, my wall. An uppercut. He's holding on. He's going great against us. Going to center ice. Yeah, you better believe it, baby.
How about my rant is me slapping you?
Those people are a couple of swingers.
A pineapple? I have no idea what that means.
Wife swap is what's that?
We had a love fest. We all kind of gathered around. We hugged each other.
But sometimes I definitely notice my nipples. You can put it on the board. Yes. I'm absolutely going Mason Rudolph over Drake May.
White Sox. White Sox. Go, go, White Sox.
It is that time of the day. It's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning here on the program. Joseph, the pre-Super Bowl 60 Rex rant from you. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. All right, so let's talk about the halftime show because it seems to be a big point of contention here. So I'm not. I look at this halftime show like kind of like The Weeknd, and I feel like there's going to be more halftime shows like this for me, which is this is a very Bad Bunny is a very popular artist. Sells a lot. I've seen Bad Bunny on Saturday Night Live. Actually, he was really good in the acting part. He's pretty good in the Happy Gilmore movie too. He was pretty good in the Happy Gilmore too.
I still haven't seen that. What am I doing? I got to figure out. I got to go watch it.
Yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, like again, it's not going to blow you away, but I don't. I laughed and he was pretty good. His music, guys, I watched it. It's like it's not music I like. I think that's going to happen more and more. There's been plenty of artists over the years, by the way, whenever they go into like pop artists, I mean, for the most part, it's like, I don't love it. I do remember what's that?
You're old. It's going to happen more and more.
But even when I was younger, like, whatever, they had like New Kids on the Block and right. Like I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Sure.
So some of it is, like I get excited if they have like Rolling Stones, The Who, Prince, like artists who are like good and that I like. And some of the Bad Bunny discourse is just dumb, racist morons, and that's not even worth getting into. But I gotta say, man, like, so The Weeknd was one. I was like, Weeknd, whatever. Caroline, so excited, great, The Weeknd. Now, first of all, when I watched that show, it was really strange. I remember he's like walking through that maze or whatever. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Also, like there are actually a couple songs like, I kind of like this song and I actually kind of know this song. I don't know if that'll happen with Bad Bunny. I'm interested to see the spectacle, but I do have to say, man, like this stuff is amazing. So Franklin Graham has tweeted. So there's like this all-American alternative show. There's a tweet from Franklin Graham. It says, quote, like most Americans, I've enjoyed watching the Super Bowl, but the halftime shows began pushing moral boundaries and have become more and more sexualized. This year, they're having Bad Bunny perform. The NFL leadership is pushing this sexualized agenda. Thank you, Turning Point USA. There's way too long. And Miss Erica Kirk for providing an alternative. The all-American halftime show with the agenda of celebrating family, faith, and freedom. And the first person that's out front in this is Kid Rock. Dude, do you want me to read you some Kid Rock lyrics? I can't because I would get kicked off the air. Kid Rock in his early days, he used to play at Michigan State. The song that everyone wanted to hear was Bleep in Your Mouth by Kid Rock. I mean, maybe I could say it. I won't say it because this is a family show. Again, it was In Your Mouth by Kid Rock. I mean, my God, man. I just but anyway, I'm not excited about Bad Bunny as a halftime show. I am interested because there are very talented artists out there. And again, as I move on, as you guys are going to get older too, but you're not nearly going to be as old as me. You have to, okay, let's see what it is. Let's see what they got. They may have a great spectacle. Yeah, I get excited if they're going to bring back the classic artists, like when they had like the Dre Snoop Super Bowl, like that was awesome. I'd get way more excited about something like that. Or again, The Who, U2 was an incredible one. Like, that's I hope that they still mix in some classic artists when they can, but try to keep an open mind and or choose the family option of Kid Rock.
There you go.
I'm struggling to.
I know we had other options.
I'm struggling to get into modern, newer music and newer artists myself.
I mean, I've already adopted the idea. I swore when I was a teenager I'd never do this, and then by the time like I was 24, 25 years old,
I was
like, anything after 2008 kind of sucks, huh? How about that? One just kind of rolls in. I mean, for this specifically, I'm going to do the same thing that I've done in every Super Bowl halftime show of my entire life, which is use that as an opportunity to get up and go get more food, which is what I've done now for 33 consecutive years.
Man, Brett Franklin's like, I desperately want to be in the room with Joe the year they announced Creed. Oh God!
Now that one I'd watch. That one I'd hold off on the
That's
food.
the biggest issue.
I'm still waiting for it
with the Super Bowl halftime shows. Is it's a quick. You don't really get the full songs, which I understand. Somebody has a lot of songs. You got to go through the catalog, but it's like a minute of this song, then you switch over. You get 2 minutes of this song. And then it like moves around. You get a minute of this song. You don't really get the full aspect performance of it. So those in general are kind of a downer.
That's why I get up and nachos.
But I've seen some good ones. Mitchell mentioning Tom Petty, that was a really good too. I think if you have like 3 really good songs that you can mostly play, or maybe even get to like 5. I think we've seen some really good. Some good performances and memorable. I mean, the Prince was unbelievable. I mean, like that. Actually, was it Justin Timberlake honoring Prince?
Oh, I was going to say wardrobe malfunction.
There was a memorable Justin Timberlake example.
Yeah. Well, we had that run about 20 years ago where it's like, let's have like art, like different kinds of artists, different genres all come together and do like, Stephen Todd is out there with like whoever. And it's like, this is really stupid. Yes. And then you had the wardrobe malfunction. At least we've gone to like, let's pick an artist and go with it. But Dennis says, I missed the Bud Bowl. That's a good point, Dennis. I missed the Butt Bowl.
We'll be watching Puppy Bowl. I know in my house.
Yeah.
Team Rough versus Team Fluff.
That's right.
Got to do that.
I vow to all of you that I will not watch a Super Bowl halftime show. I will continue to not do it until Creed is playing. When Creed steps in there, I'll step back in. That's what I'll do. That's my vow to all of you.
Pearl Jam has not been a choice, right?
I don't think so.
I mean, that would be, to me, that would be a legitimate, worthwhile choice. If Creed were ever to be picked before Pearl Jam, I mean, I'm trying to think of like, it would be the earth would swallow itself.
I have to make one amendment to what I just said. If my close personal friend Taylor Swift does the halftime show at any point, I'm going to be forced to watch it by my wife. So
yeah, you will.
I guess that's the amendment I need to make.
I mean, that has to happen at some point, right?
That's probably entirely up to her. But yeah.
But like, it's like at some point she's got to be like, yeah, dude, do the super, right? Like,
probably.
How many have we ever had artists? Of course, they didn't, again, like in the 70s, if they were doing this, they used to have just like marching bands. Like, imagine if in the 70s it was like, yes, we'll have Led Zeppelin in their prime do the halftime show, Yeah, that would have been pretty freaking sweet. But like, have we had artists who were like, yeah, I'm just too big for the halftime show?
I don't know.
Halftime show?
I'm sure it's probably happened.
People. You think so?
I'm sure that you would be hard pressed for me to believe.
I mean,
that they have not asked her at any point over the last.
Was 91 with NCOT B the first non-band?
I don't know.
According to this Wikipedia, non-marching band.
Non-marching band.
Oh,
according to Wikipedia list, it might be.
I thought that there was some here and there in the 80s, a couple, but yeah, there was definitely still some, like it basically wasn't really.
Yeah, you're right. There are a few. There was a little bit of a break in between some marching bands, and then Tops in Blue. I don't know what that is. Up with People. I don't know what that is. But then there's a bunch of marching bands. Oh, that's a Grambling State University marching band. So I don't know.
But, like a lot of them have been good. This one, keep an open mind. Pearl Jam.
They have not been on the list. Yep.
Pearl Jam needs to be there someday. And T Swift, you think I don't know. Have they asked her?
There's no way they haven't asked her over the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that it would be likely. I mean,
you're right. It was Aerosmith and NSYNC in 2001.
Yeah. I mean, like what?
What a combo.
Aerosmith and NSYNC. It's brutal.
Shania Twain, no doubt. I don't remember that one.
All right.
Bad Bunny, Luke Bryan, and Metallica. Make everybody happy.
What a show that would be. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. Terron Davenport will be with us coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
ESPN's Terron Davenport, Talking Titans, now on Robby and Rexrode on ESPN, 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week here on Robby and Rexrode. We head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcoming our friend Terron Davenport to the program from ESPN, fueled by Parman Energy. You visit ParmanEnergy.com, your one-stop petroleum solution. TD, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning. What's going on?
Not a lot, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. What do we make of the Super Bowl matchup this weekend, TD? We going with Seattle? We riding with Vrabel and the Patriots?
Yeah, I think Vrabel and the Patriots win. The momentum and just a lot of things just aligning for them, to me, makes me think they're going to win. But, man, Seattle's no slouch, that's for sure. So we'll see. It should be a good game.
What about TD? Just Vrabel. We've talked about Vrabel. Vrabel's had a great year, all this stuff. But Vrabel being coach of the year, now imagine he follows that up with the Super Bowl. What is the fan base that you obviously know very well, interact with on a daily basis? What's the Monday morning reaction to that if he finishes the deal?
You already know what it is, man. They're gonna they're gonna curse Amy Adams Strunk like no other, and they're just gonna continue to curse the franchise and still go out and root for them and cheer for them. I don't know. There's something about this fan base where it seems like they want to be mad, like they want to find something mad about. There's a never-ending quest to find something to be upset about, and this is going to be the latest thing.
In fairness, they've had a lot to be mad at over the last few years.
Yeah, they have had some bad football to watch.
There's no doubt about it. So, TD, Gus Bradley joining the staff as defensive coordinator. There's as you know, a ton of experience now with Saleh as head coach, Dable as the offensive coordinator, Bradley as DC. It's clearly the complete opposite of the last staff in terms of the experience part of it. Can you overrate experience, right? Maybe we underrated it last time, the lack of it. Can you overrate how much experience they have now?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can overrate it. I think really it's just something that you have to have as a relative part of the equation, right? Just having it doesn't mean that, they're going to win.
Right.
I mean, you look at the collective experience head coaching wise, there haven't been good results. So, I mean, you can't look at it that way. But I think, experience is in time on task is a teacher. And I believe, as Robert Saleh said in his press conference, there's a lot that he learned. Maybe Gus Bradley learned as well, and Brian Dable from his time. And now you have like a cabinet, where you could lean on with some of the decisions as far as Saleh's concerned. But also the experience, the one good thing is that they've seen pretty much everything. So there won't be too many things offensively that Gus Bradley hasn't seen. There won't be too many schemes that, defensive-wise that Brian Dable hasn't seen. So that's going to be good for Cam Ward.
So, TD, we've started to look ahead a little bit, on player acquisition time period, free agency first. One thing we talked about quite a bit this week actually was the idea of George Pickens being available, which again, I have no idea. I mean, I don't know like what will happen like with Cowboys and things like that. But if he were to be available, given that production, given obviously the fact that, the Steelers dispatch him, he's been a headache. Maybe things got better in Dallas. If you're the Titans, where you are as a franchise, is that something you go all out for, at least consider, or just forget about it?
Yeah, I don't think that's something that they'll do. I don't think he'll be available, and I don't think it's something that they should do at this point. And obviously the name, everybody's like, hey, go sign him. But I think there's a degree of chemistry that you have to have in the locker room. And I don't know George Pickens personally. I'm just kind of from afar what I've seen. I wonder how, if this organization, like if this team loses and he's a part of that, is there going to be a crash out? And I think you always have to ask that, because there's a history of that. So you got to wonder if there's going to be. I believe in giving everybody a benefit of the doubt and giving them an opportunity. But that's not a direction I would go, because I don't think they're just one player away. I think they're, they have to add multiple players to the roster at multiple positions. And I just don't know that adding him as far as where they would be, I don't know that would work.
So TD, I'm really interested in the Dable Cam Ward partnership here for the Titans, because I think we know a little bit from the outside looking in of Dable's personality, and he's pretty direct, and he's not afraid to have the tough conversation. From what I know of Cam Ward, he's not afraid to have a tough conversation. I love Cam Ward's personality here. So what do you make of those two working together? How you think those two personalities will mesh, and how beneficial is it that there's a lot of familiarity there already from the draft process that's going on when he was the head coach of the Giants?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good mesh, honestly. It's funny because it's two personalities that are alpha types, and seeing that come together is going to be a fun experience. But I think when you look, they have that common goal, right? And that's to be successful. So that's, in my opinion, what's going to allow them to coexist. But it's going to be good seeing them push each other, because you got somebody here who's going to push Cam Ward and going to not motivate him, but going to help him elevate his game, and that's something that's important. And I think when you look at Josh Allen's progress in year 2, when he was with Dable, I think that's something that you gotta hope that happens with Cam Ward if you're a Titans fan.
I think this time of year, TD, we typically hit you up for some takes on some of these prospects who have been in the. I know you're a Senior Bowl guy for sure. Anyone right now, or any more than one, who has really caught your eye that maybe people, like someone that people haven't talked about, like isn't necessarily like a star from college football, but an intriguing prospect or two that come to mind right now?
Yeah, I like Ephesians Price, the 6'2", 195-pound corner out of Washington. He moves really well. He's aggressive. He can run. I like him. And if we're talking about Senior Bowl, so he's one of the guys. I like also two receivers. Terron Montgomery, he was kind of a star down there at Mobile, and he's a 5'11", 185-pound receiver out of John Carroll University. So this guy leveled up, and he really he worked, man. His routes were crisp. He caught pretty much everything that went his way. So that's another one. I also like Ted Hurst, who's from right down the street there, Georgia State. And you're talking about a 6'3", 185 guy. He runs like a deer, man, and he attacks the ball. Those are three guys that I would say, have stood out to me. The two receivers, they were stars down there. Price, he played well, but he's not getting much conversation. But I love big, long corners that could move.
Okay, actually, speaking of Senior Bowl, and I know as a Vandy Michaela Blakes fan. By the way, she had 37 last night at Kentucky, and a huge win for Vandy.
In 40 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. See, you're on the bandwagon. I love it. Diego Pavia, did pretty well in the game. Obviously, the 5'9" and 7/8, which again basically means 5'10", but 5'9" and 7/8 would make him, I guess, the shortest drafted since the merger, which is crazy. But what do you think is realistic for him?
I would say a day 3 pick, a very late one, and a guy that has a career as a backup that will get a couple starts and cause a little commotion there, because he can play football, man. He's got that magnetic personality. He's the type, magnetic if you like competitive guys. You know what I mean? You have to like that certain type. But I mean, again, the competitor, and he's someone that will help will your team to win. And so I think having him as a guy run scout team and those type of things, like he'll push the defense and give them different looks. And don't be surprised if, he comes in and makes a couple starts and it's like, oh, this guy could play,
TD, should we go ahead and preemptively apologize to Rexrode when this time next year your Mets have taken Scooble away from his beloved Detroit Tigers? He's already predicted this to happen.
Well, that's going to be very interesting because, Freddie Peralta, they're going to have to are they going to sign he and Scooble? I don't know, but I know one thing. March 26th, opening day. That's where I am. I'm sitting right in left center at almost at Citi Field, and I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome.
Nice.
Getting close.
Framber Valdez, baby. Framber Valdez, we got him. So we got 1 year. We got 1 year here.
Yeah, that's it, man. You guys went all in, right? You gave the highest contract ever to a left-handed pitcher, and that means that Scooble is, this is his last year. You better hope that your team does well because there might be a trade in July, if not.
Exactly.
TD, enjoy the Super Bowl, man. Appreciate, as always, you taking time to be with us this morning, and we will talk to you next week, my friend.
All right, for sure. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Terron Davenport every Friday morning at 8 o'clock here on the program. Fueled by Parman Energy. Visit parmanenergy.com, your one-stop petroleum solution. We'll react to what TD had to say there. The final edition of the season of Pigkin Pickham coming up at 8:30. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby and Rexrode live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Terron Davenport with us every Friday morning at 8 o'clock. Appreciate him for stopping by last segment. We will have Pigkin Pickham, the season finale, coming up at 8:30 here in just a few minutes. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. You know, it was interesting to get TD's thoughts on George Pickens there, Joe. PK wants no part of George Pickens. Doesn't sound like TD does either. So, two of the most respected voices that cover the Tennessee Titans not having it on the George Pickens front.
Yeah, just forget about it. Just out of hand, reject him. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of with you. It's like I understand everything TD said, and I understand most things PK said for the most part. But
70%.
Yeah, you know. But I also I'm with you in terms of if it were to happen, you certainly do your homework, right? And you don't just say, "Nope, close my ears, close my eyes." No, right? Like, because people are allowed to mature.
Yeah. Let's be clear. Like, I don't think he's getting to free agency. I think Dallas is going to find a way to figure this out here. Because, I mean, number one, I would imagine, not that this is why you make your decision, but if in the same, within a few months of each other, he let Micah Parsons go and traded Micah Parsons and then didn't re-sign a guy that just had 93 catches or almost 1,500 yards, I don't think that would go over very well with the fan base. So my guess is they'll probably get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the Titans can go sign Alec Pierce. PK will be happy.
That's the thing. I don't hate that, but I do. I bet you Alec Pierce has a pretty good list of suitors.
I bet he does. I mean, and again, it's interesting. I will say in the free agency part of the receiving class that's coming up, I mean, there are guys that are really different in terms of the skill set that they bring to the table. Like, for instance, Pierce, and this is an amazing stat. I was looking at this the other day. Pierce had 1,000 yards this year for the Colts on 47 catches. He had 47 catches for 1,003 yards. That's 21.3 a catch. That's unbelievable. That's an insane number. 21.3 per reception.
It is. It's you could, if you want to nitpick that, you say, does he run all the routes? Can he be a complete receiver? But yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that threat.
But for instance, like him and Romeo Doubs, which, other than Pickens, are probably the two we talk about the most in terms of the options that are coming up for the Titans. Like, they're totally different. And like Doubs can go get the deep ball, but he's more of like your possession red zone threat type of guy. Whereas Pierce, it's like, wow, if you want to get 25 yards per reception, just throw the ball to Alec Pierce down there. But they're totally different in the way that they play.
Yeah. The thing about the Titans is all styles are welcome.
Yeah, they need all of them. They do.
Sure. Get the shifty slot guy, get the straight up, just straight line burner, get the big physical, like whatever. Get someone who can build chemistry with Cam Ward and be a problem for defenses in some way. It's all kinds are welcome for the Titans receiving room.
It is. There's not even getting into corner there, and we've talked about corner some this week too, but how many decently good corners are going to be able to make it to free agency that you can go acquire if you're the Titans at that point? Free agency, like all this cap space, Joe. We talked about cap space. They got over $100 million in cap space. Now, here in about a month and a half, we're going to find out how they use it. Between now and then, how many deals get signed in the NFL that plucks away at this free agency market? Like, I'm assuming that Romeo Doubs probably going to be out there and available just based on the rest of like where the receiver room is in Green Bay. Like, they've got, Jaden Reed and Christian Watson. They just drafted Matthew Golden. They got Dontavian Wicks, all these different guys. So if Doubs is going to get the money he's probably looking for, it's probably not coming from Green Bay. So I feel pretty good about him being available. But I don't know. Like, what if Brian Gutekunst looks at it and says, you know what? Romeo Doubs is really good in the red zone. We need him on our team. And he just signs it. Well, take one off the board. Juwan Jennings in San Francisco. It's nice to think about the idea of him, coming back home and Tennessee boy coming in and being part of the Titans again. But is he going to make it to free agency? I have my doubts. Like, he's pretty valuable in San Francisco.
Yeah, way less likely than Dobbs to me. And I think they need him. But yeah, Dobbs is one of those guys who, if he gets free agency, as I think he will, I like that reason for getting to free agency, which is really it's just like odd man out.
Yeah.
The Packers have done so much to try to address the receiver room in recent years, but he's good. He's really good. There was somebody yesterday was talking about how I gu's he's been a headache a little bit. I don't.
He
I don't
had
remember
1 week 2 years ago where he missed a practice on a Thursday and Friday, and they benched him for the game.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Steffi Knuckles points out on the YouTube chat, did everyone forget that Pickens was benched for a couple drives last season for going out and partying with CeeDee Lamb, missing curfew? He hasn't matured. So that was in Vegas, I think, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not great. To me, though, like, I mean, I guess if that's the whole thing of last year, that's still a pretty big reduction from previously. Right? There's also, again, people have, in some games, his effort in some plays was questioned and it didn't look great and stuff like that. So I get it. And I think TD, the point TD made, which is, a losing team,
right,
like, is that because that's where culture gets tested. But that's where, if you do have some people who don't get along with everyone or whatever, then that's when it can get tough. And I don't know the next time the Titans are going to have a winning team.
Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Mark in Nashville to the program. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, how you doing, Robbie?
What's up?
Hey, Joe.
What's up,
Mark? Down, man. Kryptonite, Joe. What? Joe, what do you
Close
mean
all
that?
three doors.
Sorry,
Close and lock all three doors, please.
Hey, they were a pretty good group, Joe. I'm just messing with you, but I doubt if they could make a Super Bowl appearance and be a halftime show. I understand
Who
that.
makes the Super Bowl first, 3 doors down or man door? Which door is in the Super Bowl first?
That's a great question.
I'm going to go with you. But, hey, Robbie, Joe, I got a couple of questions real quick. I hadn't heard. Who are y'all picks, man, for Sunday?
Well, you're going to find out here in about 10 minutes. We got Pigkin Pickham coming up next.
Okay, well, I hope I can pick you up out here while I'm on 24 headed toward Illinois. I hope I can listen to y'all. But I'm not going for either one, man. Matter of fact, I'll probably watch me Ice Road Truckers or something, a little bit of that game. I'm not a New England fan or Seattle fan. Two great teams, but no, I'm just waiting on my Raiders, man. But y'all were talking about Pickens again, Joe. I hadn't heard you and Robby mention. He's not going to be able to leave Dallas anyway, because if Jerry doesn't get a deal signed, he can't franchise Pickens for 1 year and then try to work a deal in. So and like I said yesterday, he wouldn't come down here. I don't really think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he went through some moments in Pittsburgh, was lazy a couple of times. I think he's turned the corner, though. I mean, we all make mistakes. The odds would be a good pickup, Robbie, because I don't think Green Bay will pick re-sign Dobbs. That would be a good pickup. He's not a number one, but he'd be a good number two. I don't know where they would get a number one at. I don't really know anybody that's coming out or that's a free agent that could be a number one for the Titans. They may have to get their number one guy through the draft, but that coaching staff they got, that's a lot of experience, man, with Gus Bradley, Dable. I mean, getting Dable was the whole key, Robbie. That's what Cam needed.
Yep.
He needed that kind of guy, because Dable made Josh Allen what Josh Allen is now. That's a great pickup. And I think Saleh, I think you can look, Robbie, for him. A lot of guys that played at San Francisco and New York that are free agents, they'll probably sign a lot of those guys, or a couple of them if they can, and they'll be on the Titans roster this year coming up. But, hey, Joe, y'all have a good weekend, man, and enjoy the Super Bowl. Hey, Joe, you really need to stop talking about 3 doors down, man. It's a good group, Joe. Stop it, man. Stop it.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate
it. See y'all later, Robbie. See you, man.
I like
Thank you, Mark. And also, yeah, they suck. Also, Mark, we have an app. Follow us on the app. You put the app on, and you can listen to us wherever, anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't know that 3 Doors Down was a band formed in Mississippi. So there you go. The more you know.
Please head back there.
Never leave.
737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. The final edition of the season of Pigskin Pick'em coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Now, it's time for Pigskin Pick'em with Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time, the final edition of the season of Pigskin Pick'em with Super Bowl 60 coming up this weekend. A standings update in the competition. Last time out, which was Conference Championship weekend. Joe Rexrode with the best week. He went 5-1 with his lock.
Ooh.
I went 4-2 with my lock. Ian got his lock. He went 1-5. But the lock has been a problem for Ian, but he got it this last time out. Which brings the overall standings. I'm in first place, and I have clinched first place. I have won the competition. 75-63, 12-11 on my locks, 87 points. Joe Rexrode has moved into second place. 63-75 overall, 13-10 on his locks, 76 points. And Ian Safar, 64-74 overall, 8-15 on his locks, 72 points. So that's where the standings lie. A 4-point gap between Rexrode and Ian as we head into the final week here. So, Ian, some work to do in the competition. We'll see how it goes. But as a champion, I'm going to sit back and just enjoy this weekend.
And real quick, so because Ian, well, I guess I was going to say because he'll have the better record if we tie,
he wins.
The overall better record wins. Although right now we're only one apart in that too. So Ian's got to be 4 different from me to have a chance.
That is correct. So we will see how that goes. We begin with the game itself. The Seahawks and the Patriots coming up in the Super Bowl this weekend. Seattle is a 4.5-point favorite. Give me New England. I'll go New England to cover. I think Seattle wins, but I'll go New England to cover the 4.5-point spread in a game that will be closer than some think. And I think it's going to come down to the wire. Give me the Patriots plus 4.5 against Seattle. Joe Rexrode, who we got in the Super Bowl?
Give me New England. Give me New England to win. I've changed my mind. Again, going Coach QB on this one. Going Drake May, one-arm push-ups, Robbie, after not winning MVP.
Yep.
He's not going to turn it over. He's going to make some huge runs and break the pocket, and it's going to be a low scoring. I'm going to go 20-19 Patriots.
So going with the Patriots to win and to cover the 4.5-point spread by Seattle. Ian Safar, who we got? Seahawks minus 4.5 in this one.
I guess I have to take Seattle.
Ian going with Seattle in this matchup.
Do
you believe it?
Not really. I mean, it's a coin flip.
We'll see what happens.
I probably would take the Patriots, I think, but I'm going to take Seattle.
I feel like
there's
we're
a lot
all
of people
leaning against the general public's thoughts on this.
I know there's a lot of people in the NFL who think the Seahawks are going to win this by double digits.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We've become Vrabelized.
I guess so. Seahawks Patriots over under at 45.5. So Rexrode, I believe we know what you're going with here. Are you taking the over or the under at 45.5?
Give me that under.
So Rexrode going with the under. Ian Safar, over or under 45.5?
I actually wrote the over in this one, so I'll go with over.
So Ian actually believes the pick that he's making this time, going with the over 45.5. You know what? I'll go over too. I think this game, offense is going to have a little bit more success in this game than maybe people think heading into it. So I will go over 45.5. Sam Darnold, what a story he's been. A lot of conversation on the Sam Darnold front this week. The over-under passing yards for Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl is set at 229.5. 229.5. Ian Safar, are you going over or under 229.5 yards for Sam Darnold?
Over.
Guaranteed. Locking down on Sam Darnold and the over at 229.5. Give me the under. I'll go under 229.5 for Sam Darnold. Joe Rexrode, over or under for Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I'm over too. I think there's going to be like a fourth quarter, to be down a little bit, and he's going to rack up a few calories there. So I think he'll just get over that number.
Rexrode taking the easy way out, trying to pick the same answer that Ian Safar has. We move on.
Well, no, I'm just picking my picks, man.
If we move on to Drake May. Drake May passing yards over or under 221.5. 221.5. I'll go over. I'm going over 221.5 for Drake May against the vaunted Seattle Seahawks defense. Joe Rexrode, are you going over or under for Drake May?
I'm going to go over there too. I'm going to go over on that one too.
So Rexrode going over on both the passing yardage totals for the quarterback and under on the score. We'll see how it goes. Ian Safar, over or under 221.5 for Drake May?
I guess I have to go under.
I guess you do. I guess you do.
Under.
He's going under for Drake May, 221.5. Jackson Smith and Jigba. His over-under is 93.5. You're talking about now the offensive player of the year in the National Football League. Rexrode, are you over or under 93.5 yards for Jackson Smith and Jigba on Sunday?
Give me overlock.
Wow.
Red zone defenses will rule, but these teams will move it between the 20s.
So going over 93.5. Ian Safar, over or under for Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Under.
There we go. I will go over as well. I'll go over 93.5 for Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I mentioned this guy earlier. Very interested to see what he plays like, what his game looks like on Sunday. The over-under total, not high. Stephon Diggs, 44.5 is the number. 44.5. Are you going over or under, Ian Safar?
Over.
Going over for Diggs. I'm going over as well and making my lock.
Guaranteed.
I'm locking down on Stephon Diggs over. He's going to make a couple of huge plays in this game. I don't know why I have that weird feeling, but I do. Give me the over, 44.5 for Stephon Diggs. Joe Rexrode, what we got?
Yeah. So we do have four different, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. I mean, this is to me a slam dunk over. I wish it was my lock too now.
Well, I mean, they set the line there for a reason. Odds makers not expecting a big game for Stephon Diggs, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, he can have a blah game and get 50 yards.
That's true. He can. What do you have in the conference championship game? Let's see. He had 17 yards on 5 catches.
Yeah, well,
in a blizzard.
Might have been a little. Yeah, might have had a little to do with the conditions there.
I would like to offer you the floor, Joe, to give your congratulations to me for winning the competition this year. I'll accept that now.
Okay. Well, congratulations. But we're all very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Well done. I mean,
at least you're not like me. Went from worst or first to worst.
Yeah.
Throughout the season.
Yeah,
So that's a
okay.
great start, only to poo-poo it away.
Ian was like, I think through the first 3 weeks of the 18 games, I think he was like 15-3 or whatever it was. He got off to a blazing start in the competition.
Yeah. I was pretty much bad all year, so at least I was consistent.
It's true.
So,
one fancy stat I did see in this that I'm interested how the game plan is going to go. Like, maybe a little bit too in the weeds strategically here, but Drake May versus zone defense and Drake May versus man.
Yeah.
And apparently the fancy stats are very good for Drake May and zone defense, and Seattle very zone heavy.
Okay.
And the injury to the nickel cornerback, I'll butcher his name, the rookie from Seattle. Another kind of scheme game plan thing I'm keeping an eye on in this game in general.
So Drake May is going to go out there and light up the zone defense for Seattle.
It's quite possible.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Which means good things for Diggs.
Does.
Hunter Henry. How will New England use both running backs, Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson? Seattle, will they be able to run the ball with just Kenneth Walker? I think there's a few game plan scheme things in the weeds that could be kind of fun in this game.
I agree. No, look, I am totally with Joe for whatever reason. And maybe it's maybe it's because it's Sam Darnold versus Drake May. I don't know. For whatever reason, I just don't feel a lot of buzz for this game. It's particularly when you consider it's a Super Bowl, right? It's like, it's Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. Oh yeah. Patriots and Seahawks. So that's kind of what it's felt like all week, just around the league. I actually do believe this got a chance to be a pretty good game coming up on Sunday. I'll tell you this. I guarantee it's, Joe. It'll be better than what it was last year. Super Bowl sucked last year. It'll be better than that one.
Yeah, it did. And last year there was a lot. There was plenty of buzz. I mean, yes, it was like fatigue with those teams rematching and with obviously the Chiefs especially, but there was still okay, this is what a Super Bowl that you kind of expect. And I think this is one of the smallest amounts of buzz for a Super Bowl I can recall. And again, I just think it's the lack of star power and just really the lack of, the Seahawks have been a great team. Pretty early they established that. They're both surprise teams, but neither of them were supposed to be here. I think there's just a lot of factors in why the buzz is so low. But yes, let's go ahead and flip it around and make it a great game. So we'll remember it.
I hope so. We'll say somebody accusing us in the YouTube chat of erasing Seattle season. The erasure of the Seahawks season is ridiculous. Who amongst us has erased Seattle season? I would love to know.
Yeah, I don't know. He also says
I picked them to win, for God's sake.
Yeah. Yeah. We've noted their season. Sean also says that the lead singer for Three Doors Down lives in Murfreesboro and he's a good dude.
Good.
I'm sure he's a good dude.
Good.
Okay. If he's listening, congrats. You're good. What's the song? Is the Kryptonite?
Yeah.
Superman.
Something
like that.
Yeah. Let me again state for the record here. This is not a we thing. I enjoy Three Doors Down, just like I enjoy Creed, and I'm dead serious about both those things.
Do they have other songs?
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't become a band just to make one song, Joe.
Well, of course they. But I'm saying
there's quite a bit of songs here in our 102.9 The Buzz sister station.
You're darn right there is
rotation.
It's like a whole Three Doors Down catalog.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's probably one of those bands where I hear a song, I'm like, oh, that's Three Doors Down, huh? Okay.
I thought my Super Bowl
Next.
question was interesting. 3 doors down or man door? Which makes it to the Super Bowl?
That
first?
is a very good question.
Which door? 615-737-1025. Our phone number. Final segment of the day coming up next. We'll wrap it up with thoughts on the Super Bowl, thoughts on the Preds with the Olympic break here. We'll take your thoughts on all of it. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. So, Joe, what do you think the show is going to be like Monday morning if it is the Patriots winning the Super Bowl? Are Titans fans going to be reaching a new level of anger? Are they over it at this point and ready to just move on from it? How do you feel about how this could go, depending on the result of the game Sunday?
Well, I mean, I generally agree with TD in terms of there's just going to be a lot of people who kind of re-enter a state of misery. Now I will say again, Titans fans, you have plenty of legitimate reason to complain over a long period of time now. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it would, if he wins, it would be a lot of going back at Amy, thanks again. And some fans, I've heard this and I get it. Some fans saying, you know what, do it. Let's maybe this would be the, okay, now that you've seen this, the absolute absurdity of all of it, and the fact that he goes in year one, wins it all, maybe let this affect you in the future in your decision making and understanding that like you can't make rash decisions based on things that don't really apply to winning football or losing football, right?
Yeah.
So you could look at it that way. Like this could be a good thing, a slap in the face. Now, again, I would also counter that by saying, well, look, they've made new choices. This is Borgonzi's deal with the roster. This is Robert Saleh's deal on the coaching. And so, we'll see. I guess it could be like, okay, so if it's a little bit rough over the short term, does something like this induce more patience? And then the next question would be, is the patience deserved? Because sometimes, sometimes it is the right time. I don't think Brian Callahan deserved any more time than he got, or Ryan Carthon.
No, I'm totally with you on that front. I think a lot of Titans fans, number one, I mean, I think pretty much everybody can recognize at this point that the Vrabel thing, the Titans did not end up on the right side of that, clearly. I mean, Vrabel is in the Super Bowl. He might win it this weekend, so we'll see. Now, I think the next step is, well, if you're the Titans, you've made your hires here. You've got Saleh in. You've got your coaching staff that, as we talked about with TD earlier, there's a ton of experience there. Now, as TD brought up, from the head coaching part of it, both with Saleh, but also Dable and Gus Bradley, it's not very successful head coaching experience. But they have pulled together a lot of head coaching experience, a lot of coordinator experience. So you're feeling good about that, I think, if you're the Titans. And now the question is, like, did you get this round of hires right? And that's with Borgonzi, that's with Saleh, and we're still a long way away, I think, from actually knowing the answer to that. But with the experience that's on the table, the cap space that's on the table, you got the number 4 overall pick in the draft. I do sense some optimism that will still be there from Titans fans, regardless of the result on Sunday of what happens with Mike Vrabel. Like, I do think there's a significant portion of the fan base is like, yeah, we get it. We screwed up the Vrabel thing, but it's time to move on. Let's go.
Yeah. And look, the reality is in this league, if you get to this next iteration and it's a failure, then to me, that's kind of new territory for the Titans.
Yes.
So then you really, you do get concerned just about decision-making and culture and leadership and communication and all those things. Not that it could go either way with Robert Saleh, but the way this league, the patterns of this league would suggest that the Titans are about to come out of this and go in the right direction. It's just, we will find out if their quarterback is good enough. We will find out if their coach is good enough and if their GM is good enough. But you can find optimism in all three of those people.
Have you seen the Woody Johnson stuff that this radio host started talking about at WFAN in New York about Woody Johnson squashing the Wink Martindale agreement to be the DC of the Jets?
No.
Okay, so apparently, just real quickly, but this kind of, if this is true, because so far I think only one guy has come out and said this, but he said that apparently there's a deal in place for Wink Martindale to be the defensive coordinator with the Jets, and that Woody Johnson basically said to Aaron Glenn, I'm paying you this amount of money. You're going to be the one calling the defense. Like, you're calling the defense. We're not doing this Wink Martindale stuff. Figure it out yourself, which is apparently what happened. So, and now the Jets are what they are, and they just went through last season without an interception on the defensive side of the ball. Hard to do in a 17-game NFL season.
Well, that's the thing. So,
but doesn't that sound like that would be right in line as to something Woody Johnson would do?
It does, and it's another reminder of, like, give Robert Saleh a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, And so, like, when he comes in his presser, as any coach gets hired, they're going to say, oh, the owner's amazing. I'm so excited about the owner. Thanks for all the money. But, like, if you're solid, like, I think it's reasonable to be like, you know what? This owner looks pretty good. This looks fine to me.
Defensive coordinator to call plays? No, I'm paying you, you moron. Why would you do that for?
My God. It's like Mike
You ever
Brown
think Woody
over there,
Johnson
like,
looks at it and
Coach?
says, looks at everything that's happened and says, you know what? Maybe it's me. You think that thought's ever come up?
No, he's like, I need David Tepper to go out and start a bar brawl so people stop talking about what an idiot I am.
Hasn't looked at everything that's gone down and says, you know what? Maybe I'm to blame for this. I don't guess that's happened yet.
It does not appear to be the case. Texter's asking if Vrabel said he'd cut his junk off to win a Super Bowl. Well, he said half, but might have exaggerated things a little bit too in the midst of that.
He did originally say that he would.
Busting with
years ago.
Originally said all of it. Apparently, I don't know. Has it grown? I have no idea, but Vrabel might be exaggerating himself a little bit over here. I don't know.
We'll see. Hope everybody.
Hopefully, we won't see. I don't want. Let's not see.
Well, I would much rather not see. No.
Leave me 6, Mike, Coach Vrabel.
On that note, hope everybody has a great weekend. Hope you
great
enjoy
weekend.
the Super Bowl. There's a chance we'll be back on Monday. Hope everybody has a fantastic time this weekend. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman is coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.